Hi, this is Christine Duvivier, and today I did my first radio program on my new show called A Breath of Fresh Air, and I talked about what I called dyslexia, a gift in disguise, because there's this idea that kids have learning disabilities, and dyslexia is one of those quote unquote learning disabilities. Personally, I believe there are no learning disabilities. And let me just be really clear. I'm not saying, don't get the extra services and help. So if you have to label a child in order to get extra services and help, I completely understand that. But what I am saying is that the truth of the matter is it's really important to know in your own heart. If you work with a student, if it's your child, if you are the student, it's just really important to know that this idea that there's a learning disability implies that you have trouble learning in some way or that you're not smart in some way. And that's what I think is not true. Um, so dyslexia is one of the labels, and there's an underlying gift, and I call it the gift of visioning. And I first learned about this from Ron Davis in his book, The Gift of Dyslexia. Had it on my bookshelf right behind me. And so what Ron Davis realized and explains in the book is that people who are labeled dyslexic actually think in pictures. And so you think three-dimensionally, you process much faster than in words. Because if you think about it, we read and write somewhere in between, let's say, 125 and 300 words a minute, plus or minus. But if you think in pictures, you're processing 10,000 words, 30,000 words a minute, the equivalent of, right? Remember, a picture's worth 1,000 words. So you're just processing information much faster and three-dimensionally in pictures. It's a gift. It's a gift that highly successful adults have. But we label it as a learning disability in school because in school we have this idea that reading and writing are all important. And if you don't learn to do them quickly and easily, then there's something wrong with you. And I think that that's absolutely wrong. In my research, I found that that just is not true at all. But you have to understand what I call the gifts that conflict with school. And visioning is one of those gifts. So, love for you to join in on the show. It's already been run, but would love to get your comments, and we'll be talking a lot more about these kinds of topics on that show. So one thing coming out of that, I was asked, like, well, what would you do? And I'd say the very first thing I would do as a parent, as a student, as somebody who works with these students, is I would recognize that there's nothing wrong with this child, that they don't have a learning disability. They're perfectly capable of learning. They just aren't doing it in the way that's prescribed. But I wouldn't worry about that. Third, I would, sure, get the services, right? So I think most kids want to learn to read and write. But as I talked about on the show, if I'm learning to play tennis, right now I'm actually in the process of changing my strokes, and it's taking a long time. It is a struggle. And I'm sure my pro is getting frustrated with me. But fortunately, when I'm learning tennis, Andrew's not saying, okay, you got an A on that quiz, or you got a D on that one today because you couldn't do it. No, he's saying, okay, turn your shoulders a little more. He's saying, keep your elbow away from your body. All right, drop your arm. Use the drop motion to build your momentum to swing up. Don't forget to end high, right? So he's giving me pointers. And over again, over months, it's been taking me to relearn these strokes. That's the difference between learning something like tennis and learning in school. In school, we would be judging you. Oh, it's taking you longer to learn to read? Well, then you're getting a D on this test, or you're not very smart. And the truth is that they are geniuses in disguise. We just don't see their genius when we put this little frame around them that says you have to do it this way. that's my thought for today. Dyslexia is a gift in disguise. Look forward to seeing you next time.